Well, hey, I want to welcome you to this exclusive Rockin' Customs video on some basics for songwriting. So first of all, I want to start and just applaud you so much. So you want to write a song and you're getting in. And the biggest thing I want to tell you as an artist is we can beat ourselves up so bad. So the fact that you're putting on this video, I'm going to tell you, there's a song in you, there's poetry in you. I'm a firm believer in the God who made us. He's the creator and he made us creative. And so I just applaud the fact that you're stepping out boldly with your creativity. If I could encourage you in something, just don't psych yourself out, right? It's an art, stay in this. And so what I'd love to do in the next two videos is just give you 7 quick tips. And we'll have a resource that'll go with you that'll help mine out some of these other things. Some of them are gonna be tips of just how you can position yourself toward doing it. And then some are gonna technically get into the music. I'm gonna be using the piano on those just so you can see the truths are gonna be the same way on any instrument that you're going to pick up. Seven tips that I'd love to give you. The first one is this: have a clear vision for your song. So when you get in, I believe the content of what you're actually trying to say is going to be most important. And so when you get into this, it's going to be the lyrics. Like, what is it that you're actually trying to convey? There's a feeling for a song. There's something that you want. So even before you get to the music, and I know we're all going to hear things differently. So I have friends that hear music first, and that's what they hear, and they just know there's a sense to a feeling of a song. I have other people that get the lyrics first. The main thing I want to tell you is you want a vision for your song so that you're constantly making sure those match. It's not just, oh, that's a cool chord pattern, but what am I trying to convey? What am I trying to say? And you want to look at the lyrics, you want to look at the melody of your song, you want to look at the musical style, and you want to make sure that in the arrangement, that tempo and time signature, all those things, that they're going to fit. So obviously, if you're writing a sadder song, then you probably would find yourself around a whole lot of minor chords. Not always. Sometimes you can have sad songs that would be in your major chords, but you're getting in and you just want to make sure that it fits. So the very first tip I want to give you is just lay out the framework, and then some of those terms even that I would tell you, we've got a resource for you to walk through your lyrics, your melody, musical style, your arrangement, the chord arrangement that's going to come, some of the dynamics. Again, what I would encourage you, I don't listen to the radio a whole lot because radio edits of songs sometimes edit out all the artistry. I would encourage you to go on a journey. So it needs to pick up and at times get louder and at times get softer. And don't be afraid to express that musically. So the first thing you're gonna do is just really answer the question, what's the story gonna be? The second one I want to encourage you to do, and I'm gonna speak about the lyrics for just a minute, we'll get into some of the melody, is when you're stepping in, you wanna show people and not tell them what you're coming. And so some things that you would wanna avoid reporting impersonal facts. This is not a telling of the news. So if I were writing a worship song, I don't simply want to say, God loves people a lot, right? I would maybe want to say something that is more giving you a feeling of what that actually is like. You would equally want to avoid generic or overused cliches. And so these would be things that are poetic and good, but maybe have been used so much everywhere. So I know there was a period of time that every other worship song that was written was a song about water. So it was always, your love is an ocean, your love is a wave. And that was amazing, except it started showing up everywhere. And so again, the changing nature of creation is, it's all sacred. You can write about any part of it, but I would encourage you, as you're writing a song, know what you're writing and find a way to maybe say it that you haven't heard somebody quite say it before. That gives you a song worth expressing. In part of this show don't tell, it would also don't be so poetic that nobody has any idea what you're talking about. Sometimes what happens, you'll hear somebody come and say, well, the fawn and the flower feigned their essence to envelop your majesty. And you're like, I have no idea what we're talking about right now. You want to find a way to step in and say something that's worth saying. Say it a little bit differently than maybe you've heard it before, but not overthink and not over artsy out yourself. So I love the song, Reckless Love was one that they had that really picked up part of this. But if you look at the words that he says here, he says, there's no shadow you won't light up, no mountain you won't climb up coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, no lie you won't tear down coming after me. Again, what I love is, what is he saying? He's saying that God loves us a lot, but he's found a different way to kind of express that. And what he did was he showed us, right? He took us right to the picture of, man, I'm seeing a wall being kicked down. I'm seeing this pursuing love of a God. I would encourage you in show don't tell. Make sure that your poetic pictures and your metaphors are consistent. I know in our band, Valley's End, we had a song we were so excited about until we realized that we were singing about how something was, and again, it was during this ocean time when everybody's writing about the ocean, and it was about how, God is moving in the ocean, but then we had this whole thing about a road that we were walking, and I remember when we went to record it in the studio, they asked us, they were like, so there's a road in the middle of the ocean that you're going, like, is this a splitting of the Red Sea? And I was like, no, those are two different metaphors that probably belong in two different songs. And then I would just encourage you, don't overuse metaphor. Sometimes we try to be so poetic and try to say things that we just try too hard. And so if you can get a mixture between saying things just as they are, where we'll know exactly what you mean, and then saying things a little bit differently, that'd be really good. So one of the ones I'll share some words with you, I love the artist Ben Rector. He has a song called Beautiful, just talking about life as we know it. And he has these words where he says, there are days I wake up that I don't know what I'm doing here. That is point blank, right? We all go, yeah, I got that. I barely recognized the pair of eyes staring back at me in the mirror. There was a day I was free, not a care I could see, so good I barely could believe what was happening. Take me back again. If you notice what he did in the verse of this song, it's almost all just point blank. In fact, the only really poetic picture is, there are days I barely recognize the pair of eyes staring back at me in the mirror. But even then we're like, I got it. I know what a mirror is. I know what he's talking about. And then he gives his chorus. He says, I was 16 with an open heart, windows down in a beat up car, when I was dumb and the world was young and she was beautiful. She was beautiful. So if you notice what he did there at the very end was he gave this metaphor by personifying all of life as being beautiful and like a young 16-year-old falling in love for the first time, and he needs to get back to that place where he's not cynical. That is really, man, that's the stuff. That is what you want to get. I would encourage you as you try to find how do you show, not tell, really focus in on some artists that are good songwriters that are saying it that way, and step in and kind of start to get it. Tip 3 that I want to give you is this, and in the next video, we're going to get a lot into the actual music itself. Tip 3, I would say, don't be a perfectionist, but do be picky. So when you're getting into this, you can get so stuck. We can be our own worst enemy and not get anything down. What I want to encourage you to do is just start writing. It doesn't all have to be its final thing. And so as you go, what you're doing, instead of writing and tearing it apart, you're writing looking for the gold. You're looking for the thread of something that you go, okay, there's something worth fighting for in this. And when you stay in that and you find that something worth fighting for, you stay in that, you keep that, and then that's when you want to get picky. When you find something that's like, oh wow, this part is really good, then look at everything else around it, every syllable, every line, and it's your song, so you should absolutely love it. If there's any part of the song you look at and go, I don't love it yet, well then it's yours. You have permission to change that. Be picky until you look at every part of your song and say, you know what, I feel like this is saying exactly what it needs to say. And even being picky in the structure, if you're looking verse, chorus, bridge, pre-choruses, where you put those things in, again, you have the permission to write a unique song exactly what it needs to be. So some songs I've written, they're like 7 or 8 minutes long. Other songs I've written, man, they're landing at 2.5 minutes because it needed to be simple and I needed to say it and be done. So know what you're writing. If we're recapping this video, have a clear vision for your song. You want to show and then not tell. And then you want to step into this place where you're not being a perfectionist, but you are being picky and fighting for each element. Now in the next video, what I'm going to do is actually walk you through some chord structures and some ways that you can be creative in the writing of your song. Can't wait.